Choir and others that we in the West have a responsibility, and it's a responsibility to undermine our government's designs for war. And one person who's been doing that, of course, is Mark Taliano. He's become one of the leading voices in the Western world critiquing the government's designs on Syria. And he has spent a great deal of time interviewing many Syrians living in Syria or abroad who have complained about this imposition of a Western agenda on their country. And he spent time standing up for the Syrians under attack by the U.S., for the minorities, Sunni, Shia, Christians, all the groups that are under attack from the kind of groups that Trump is supporting. So, Mark, thank you very much. Why don't you come on up? Mark with Global Research, marktaliano.net, Voices from Syria. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. I'm very happy to see everyone here, and I'm happy to hear the truth. And I heard the truth from Ray, and I'm hearing the truth from a lot of people, and I'm seeing the truth in a lot of these signs. It says, hands off Syria. We have no business meddling in Syria at all. But that is a disgrace. That is shameful. We have no business. The sanctions is economic blockade. The economic blockade kills children every single day. That is shameful. Is this Canada? Is this what we're doing? I see signs, Canada out of NATO. Yes, these globalizing treaties, it isn't a treaty really, these globalizing military alliances, they are a form of dictatorship. They are dictating to us what we are to do. And how do they do that? They do that in many ways, but one of the ways, and they use colonial media to do this, is the big lie. We know, did they tell the truth about Iraq? Did they tell the truth about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq?
No!
No! Did they tell the truth about Libya and mercenaries on Viagra?
No!
No! Are they telling the truth about General Soleimani?
No!
No! Are they telling the truth about Syria?
No! Are they telling the truth about anything?
This globalizing dictatorship is not telling the truth about anything in these matters. It really isn't. And it cannot do that because it has to fabricate consent, because decent human beings do not support and would not support what we are doing. We support terrorists, and Ray was talking about this. We support terrorists who slaughter Christians because they're Christians. Do we support that?
No.
They're doing that in Syria, and they've been doing that in Syria for 9 years.
Okay.
And they've been doing that to Muslim communities as well. These are anti-Islamic terrorists. And who is the leading fighter against these terrorists that Canada and NATO support? General Soleimani. Who did we assassinate? General Soleimani. He was one of the number one anti-ISIS fighters. What does that tell you? Who do we support? We support the terrorists. Our tax dollars support the terrorists. But Canadians are decent people, and they wouldn't do that unless they were lying. And that's what they're doing. They're lying. And the lies about Syria are worse than anything I've ever heard before, and they're probably unprecedented. And let's just talk. Let's just talk about some of these lies, some of these big lies, because we know they lie. We know it's not reasonable to think that they're not lying, because they lied about Iraq and Libya and Yugoslavia and Afghanistan. Who did they use in Afghanistan?
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda. Who did they use in Kosovo and Yugoslavia?
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda. Who did they use in Libya?
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda. Who did they use in Iraq? Al-Qaeda. They pretended they're fighting them, but they're not. They brought them into Iraq. They brought ISIS into Iraq. They're not telling us the truth. Brothers and sisters, NATO does not wage war for humanitarian reasons. It fabricates atrocity stories to fabricate consent for criminal warfare. I met President Assad. I met Syrian people. I was there 3 times during the war. They're like you and me. They are decent human beings.
Yes.
Very decent. I have a preference for Syrians myself, but they are decent human beings like all of us. President Assad does not use chemical weapons against his own people, and he never did.
Exactly right.
The OPCW is corrupt. It was leaked. Henderson made a leak. It's corrupt. The decision was made in Turkey to collaborate and to enter into collusion with the White Helmets, which Canada supports directly, to fabricate false flag. And they've done this countless times, and they do this every time Syrian Arab Army is making advances. The White Helmets are affiliated with terrorists. They're affiliated with Al-Qaeda. Some of them are terrorists. Some of them are Al-Qaeda. It's a big lie. You turn on that TV, it's a big lie. Chemical weapons, no. Why would President Assad, when he's winning the war, let's use common sense here. Why would he, when he's winning the war, use chemical weapons on boys and girls and men and women? Why would he do that? Is he some kind of strutting megalomaniac, a dictator? Is he? No. Trump is. Washington is. President Assad is not an evil dictator. The Syrians love him. A NATO survey demonstrated that the Syrians have overwhelmingly support him. They elected him. It's not a dictatorship. Okay? When we have good Canadian people living in this country and matters of transformative importance like war and peace are presented to them in such a way that's a total big lie, ask yourself, who's living in the dictatorship? We have mechanisms of democracy, we have voting, but are these votes informed? Are we gaining from all this warfare? No. This globalization is vacating jobs. Jobs are leaving to other vassal countries that have been colonized, where the wages are low and where there are no human rights and where there are dictatorships. We are not benefiting from all this. What about the Caesar photos? Some guy named Caesar, he doesn't even have his last name anywhere. He presents a lot of photos and says, look what Assad did. Sorry folks, it doesn't stand up to any evidence. Rick Sterling did a lot of excellent work with that, so did others, Tim Anderson. It's fake. These are all fake. He does not kill his own people. NATO and the globalizing dictatorship, every country they go into, they say it's humanitarian, we're just going to help you. We're coming in, we're going to bomb the hell out of you because we're going to help you. It's all a big lie. They say he's a dictator. It's all a big lie. And the media just regurgitates it. There's stenographers. There's about 6 media monopolies that control all the messaging. Where's the media now that I'm talking? Or when the previous speaker was talking? I saw CMHC. Where is it? What happened? Where did they go? It's deplatforming. Vanessa Beeley was here. She's an expert on the White Helmets. She was deplatformed. She couldn't find us. Thanks to Hamilton Coalition to stop the war and their fine efforts, they found platforms for her. Platforms where she could speak and tell the truth about what she discovered in Syria, investigating the White Helmets. Thanks to the Hamilton Coalition to War, she found a platform. But many places canceled. And that's democracy? That's not democracy. Voices of truth and peace and justice are being shut down. Sardinia, the torture place. Did he do it? No. Amnesty International didn't even go to Syria. They weren't allowed in. They used computer software to figure out these atrocities. Right. What? Okay, give me 2 minutes. Okay. With that, I will close. I'm going to just repeat what a previous speaker said, which is our governments support all these terrorists, including ISIS, okay? They try to work within a mantle of plausible deniability, but they support them all. I can prove it all, and a lot of us can prove it all, okay? Our governments support the terrorists. They are not going after terrorists. They're going after President Assad, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Some very painful issues about manufacturing consent there. We are in a sort of propaganda war that has only intensified since the Bush days. I recommend you check out some of the journalists he mentioned. There's a lot of people covering what he's talking about. I just mentioned there's an amusing journalist on the internet, Caitlin Johnstone. She has very colorful wit, and she said, if you talk about these issues and deny what the media is saying, sometimes they'll call you a conspiracy theorist. And she said they should be called Iraq rememberers. Iraq rememberers, people who remember what happened in Iraq and then Afghanistan and then Libya and Syria and so on. So we all have to become more critical and sharpen our wits. So closing out today, we were going to have Don McLean, but I understand he's taken a bit of a cold. So we do have, representing the Council of Canadians, Mary Love, our final speaker for the day, and talking about a variety of issues, environmental and others that relate to the work that's being done with Council of Canadians, Hamilton 350. So Mary Love, please, thank you very much. Come on up.
Thank you, Steve. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm sure, just to make sure everybody knows, the Council of Canadians is the largest social justice organization in the country. We have chapters from sea to sea to sea, and these chapters work as volunteers the way all of you do, and one of the main things the Council of Canadians pushes for is transparency in government. We went to court over the robocalls, etc. And killing a war hero with a drone is just the absolute abysmal opposite of transparency in government. So we in the Hamilton chapter deplore that our government was silent on that, and all Trudeau would say was, yeah, I wish they told me they were gonna blow this man up. So our government's actions are disgraceful on just about every level and every area. They have promised reconciliation with First Nations, and what do we have but the RCMP poised to invade Wet'suwet'en and on behalf of Coastal Gas. When I was living in Regina, I went to hear General Romeo Allaire, thank you. And somebody said to him, well, how long do you think it'll be before we get rid of war, General? And he said about 300 years. Well, I'm sure you agree with me, with the climate crisis, with the horrendous millions of people displaced and their lives ruined, and the horrible pollution that the war machine brings, we have to bring the war machine to a stop well before 300 years. We certainly won't be here if we don't. So thank you for asking me to speak on behalf of the Council of Canadians and especially the Hamilton chapter. And let's bring the Canadian troops home.
Bring the troops home.
Yeah, bring the troops home. Thank you.
It looks like we're closing out. We have a final song by the Extinction Rebellion Choir, appropriately enough. So, yes, I'm going to hand it over to you to finish this rally.
We need a song of hope, folks. Hope, hope, hope. Last night I had the strangest dream I ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war.
Here, here.
I dreamed I saw a mighty room all filled with women and men, and the paper they were signing said they'd never fight again. And when the papers were all signed and 1,000,000 copies made, they all joined hands and bowed their heads and grateful prayers pray. And the people in the streets below were dancing round and round, and guns and swords and uniforms were scattered on the ground. Last night I had the strangest dream I ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. Hands off Syria!
Hands off Syria! Hands off Iran!
Hands off Syria!
Hands off Iran! Hands off Syria!
Hands off Iran! Hands off Syria!
Hands off Iran!
Thank you, Mary Love and Extinction Rebellion Choir. Sad but hopeful way to end things. And what Mary said reminded me of what I heard from Tamara Lawrence from Voices of Canadian Woman for Peace. She was on Taylor Report this week, and you can catch that interview. It's going to be posted on the Hamilton Coalition to Stop the War website at hcsw.ca. So check us out at hcsw.ca, because the Tamara Lawrence interview about those subjects is going to be posted up there this weekend. Anyway, that's it. We're going to be closing out. I'm told that the fundraising total went up to $315. So thanks, congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. You actually raised it. You raised the total. So well done. And we're going to be, some of the organizers afterwards are going to be going, where are we going? George Hamilton. The George Hamilton, there's a room that's been reserved at the back to debrief the event, talk about the meeting, if people want to talk about upcoming things or getting involved. So George Hamilton, just go on down. There's a reserve section in the back. And I see a lot of people have signs. So if you could just put them back, there's a sign pile at the end here. So just take your signs. They'll be collected for you. We'll take care